The House is set to vote later today on the President Trump-endorsed budget resolution, which could add at least $2.8 trillion to the deficit through 2034. Now, while Democrats plan to protest ahead of the vote, Republicans can only afford to lose one vote if all members are present. Joining us now, House Budget Committee Chair Jody Arrington. I didn't write the intro, but if you were wondering how much you were going to add to the deficit, we decided that was the most important thing to tell you in our intro, just to get it out there for you. As
I didn't write that, Joe?
I didn't write that. I know, but I know the individual who did. But yeah, go ahead.
Let me refute it. If we grow this economy and stop the reckless, unnecessary spending, return to the pro-growth, pro-work, pro-energy policies that we had established in the first unified Republican leadership alongside President Trump, we know we're going to grow by at least that 2.5% growth rate. That's lower, by the way, than the average annual growth rate of President Trump's first 4 years and lower than the annual average growth rate of President Biden's administration. So if you get the 2.5 to 2.6 trillion from growth, from pro-growth policies, and you rein in the unnecessary reckless, fraudulent spending on the entitlement side to the tune of $2 trillion, you will offset, so you will have a deficit-neutral proposition, and you'll actually reduce the debt to GDP, which is the best measure of the fiscal health of our country, and you'll put us in a better position altogether for the future.
You got no room for error, Congressman. And what are the prospects right now? I've seen Massey say some things. I saw Congresswoman, I don't even want to try to say it, but are you going to, what is it, Malia Takis?
Sure.
What are the chances? What are the chances with, everyone's got to be there, but do you know how to whip? Are you a whipper? You know how to whip votes? Do you have it?
Yeah, well, the best way to whip, Joe, is to get a good product. And we've got this fiscal framework, I think, does a little bit for every group. Those fiscal hawks like myself who are concerned about the mandatory spending that's driving us off the fiscal cliff. We have $2 trillion in a goal to reduce the spending there, which would be 5 or 6 times as high as the last highest reduction in spending in the 75% of the budget that we're dealing with. And then for those folks who want to lock in the tax cuts, want to see pro-energy policies, want to roll back the trillions of dollars in the barrage of regulations we witnessed and experienced over the last 4 years, there's something in this framework for them. And then you need to assure the moderates, my colleagues from the swing districts, that what we're doing to bend the curve on mandatory spending doesn't have anything to do with benefits other than strengthening the program and preserving those benefits for the most vulnerable Americans, but preventing illegal immigrants from accessing the social safety nets, preventing people who are ineligible. For example, Joe, if we just return to reviewing the eligibility rules of Medicaid, not once but twice a year, which it was under Trump, and then it was revoked and established as a one-time annual review, you save $160 billion. But more importantly, you make the program more sustainable for future vulnerable Americans who need it. And also, by the way, we spend $9,000 per illegal immigrant, according to Numbers USA, for taxpayer services that would otherwise go to U.S. citizens. That $9,000 per illegal immigrant is more than we spend for the most vulnerable American on Medicaid, and altogether more than we spend for our retired military for their retirement benefits. So there's a lot of cleanup to do. There's a lot of waste. And I think $150 to $200 billion is just the beginning of what needs to happen if we're going to save the country from a sovereign debt crisis.
Congressman, are there people on your committee or in the House that are working in close coordination with Elon Musk and DOGE? We hear conflicting things on what DOGE can do, what it can't do. Congress, appropriates funds that are supposed to be spent, and to which no man can cut asunder if it's already been designated, and we can't do this. Are you working in tandem to do legislation that allows DOGE to even do more, where you're not going to be challenged by the courts or activist judges every step of the way?
Yeah, so I think Elon Musk is doing a fantastic job and a tremendous service to taxpayers by highlighting some of the most absurd and wasteful spending that's occurring, no doubt, throughout the four corners of the people's government. But we can lock in reforms, Joe, that will save tens of billions of dollars in the long run. Like I mentioned on that twice annual review of the eligibility for Medicaid, if you require a Social Security number, for example, for the parents who are receiving a child tax credit benefit, you will save over $20 billion over the budget window. And the list of reforms to rooting out waste and fraud is endless, which is why I'm confident that we can chip away at what the GAO says is about a $3 trillion in improper payments among entitlements throughout the government.